Watch out, this podcast may contain adult content. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movies at Midnight, your favorite movie podcast with Andy and Eli. This show, as always, is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They are the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. Go check them out. They've got celebrities, vendors. It's a comic convention. It's tons of fun. Check it out at escomiccon.com.
Insert intro music here. Welcome, everybody. It is Movies at Midnight. I'm one of the hosts, Andy, with my home slice, my main man, my movie compatriot, Eli. Do you want me to call you Eli or Elijah on here? Because, my friends call me Elijah, but my people call me Eli. Like, what are we doing here?
It's up to you. I say you fly by whatever seat of the pants you want to. It's up to you, my friend.
All right. I'm pro seat of the pants. So,
if you want to call me your sugar bear, you do that.
Okay, sure, absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this episode with the most important thing ever right now.
Today.
And we wanted to start by talking about Netflix's big week. So two things that happened this week for Netflix. They got multiple Oscar nominations for Roma, for The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And I think there was wasn't there a third? They had some documentaries, I think it was, that got nominated as well. And then they also became eligible or are looking for MPAA certification, which until now, that right has only been reserved for the big movie studios. Mm-hmm. So, I guess, Elijah, you should start here. What do you think about this? I mean, do you think this is a big deal? I mean, maybe one of these on their own might not have been as big of a deal. It's still groundbreaking, but both of these together, I feel like puts Netflix on the map. What do you think?
I think that this is only good news, one, for Netflix and their stock prices, obviously. But the nice thing for them is that a lot of people are coming for them. So Amazon, I don't feel has hit that stride yet. Apple hasn't even really entered the realm yet, but they're trying. And then you see, Hulu of course competes with them, but Disney, that's the big giant on the forefront that I would fear if I were Netflix. And these things are that padding or that armor that they're putting on. They're like, yeah, you know what, look at all these Oscar noms we've got, look at all these directors we've got, look at all these showrunners we're tying up. And as the movie world kind of blurs with the TV world, there's a lot of battles to be fought for talent, and there's only so much talent and so many actors and so many faces that you can put on things. But no, I'm definitely with you. This is huge news for Netflix. This is huge news just in general for the landscape of how much content we're going to have going forward.
Yeah, and I really do think that Disney looks at Netflix as one of their biggest competitors, if not their absolute biggest competitor at this point, because they're pulling all their Disney stuff off of Netflix for their own Disney Plus streaming service. And so they're trying to get that mind share that Netflix has for people at home. I mean, how many people don't go see the Marvel movies because they know that Netflix is putting them out in 6 months? So
yeah.
So Netflix is competing with. They're not competing with Hulu anymore, and they're not really competing with Amazon even anymore. The Amazon stuff I feel like is just extra with your Prime. They just want you to be in there, and they're the Amazon circle of trust.
You're like, sure, I'll take a Miss Maisel, whatever.
Yeah, sure. So Netflix is, I think their main competitor is Disney, and both of these guys are swinging their big old money dicks around and spending like crazy, and putting out really, I think we can both say, really good content. Netflix before was a hub for other stuff for us to watch. We'd go watch other people's movies, but now Netflix has so much original content. They've become the home for stand-up comedy pretty much now too. And they've got really good animated stuff. So yeah, this is a big deal. And, so the MPA certification, basically they're going to have say in ratings. Some people are nervous because they're saying that could actually impact the censorship on Netflix. Maybe the MPAA will want to have Netflix tone it down a bit, because right now it's kind of the Wild West on Netflix as far as what content creators can do. Yeah. And then with the multiple Oscar nominations, I mean, that's just a big deal, because they threw Roma in in one of those LA, New York theaters for a 2-week run, just so it was eligible for Oscar nominations. Same thing with Buster Scruggs. And here they are, both nominated now for awards at the Oscars. It's a big deal. First time that a streaming service has had their movie nominated. Now Amazon had what was that movie with that? I'm already mind farting on this movie with Casey Affleck a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, it was in Amazon Studios, Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, so yeah, that was an Amazon produced movie, but it was not originally released on Amazon
On
Prime.
Amazon itself.
It
Yeah, yeah,
was in the yeah, so yeah, Netflix making moves this year, with
I think just one more thing with this, that this kind of timing is interesting. Obviously, it's the beginning of the year, and that's when a lot of this stuff kind of happens. But they had their price hikes just come for the first time, so they had like a $2 price increase basically to every level across the board for Netflix.
I was really laughing about that because it's like, oh, that's unfortunate for the person that pays for the account that I share. Like
Andy, I'm the person who pays for the account that everyone shares.
It doesn't affect me at all. I don't have a $2 price increase. I'm good.
You jerk. And then also, interestingly enough, because Hulu becomes kind of more of a part of Disney because with that Fox merger, they get majority share in Hulu. So they actually dropped their price recently from the $7.99 to $5.99 for their basic tier that has the ads still. And then their other tiers, their higher end ones, they all added money. So like there was like a $5 increase to some of the tiers and other things like that. But their base level went down $2, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and it's whatever. I mean, they have enough content. I feel like that is still worth it. Um, if their original content isn't good going forward, maybe it becomes a problem. But right now, they're doing pretty good work, and they're giving directors like pretty much leeway to do what they want to do. And they do still get old shows, and there's still probably going to be some kind of connection with, it's almost synergistic, really. Like you catch up on The Good Place on Netflix, and then you have to get Hulu so that you can watch
the new season.
New season, yeah. It's so, it's like almost that. I wouldn't be surprised if one day we have like two streaming services, and one of them is Disney Plus, and one of them is everybody else. So we'll see about that going forward. Okay, so that is important. Everybody needs to know about
spot,
that.
Yeah.
Do we want to do the Glass review next, or do we want to do
Glass?
Yeah, okay. So we saw Glass. We have
together
some thoughts. We did see it together. Yes, we have some thoughts on this. There was a drunk person talking to himself for the first third of the movie when we were in there, so that was pretty cool. It really kind of.
I think they were talking to the movie, Andy. That's what I think.
They positively impact the feeling that we were, in fact, an insane asylum. Yeah, so I didn't. It didn't bother me too much. One of my favorite parts of the movie was when that dude fell asleep, so that he stopped talking to the movie out loud.
Yes, that was great.
And I'm a manager at the theater, and you know what? I'm off the clock. I'm not going. Someone else wants to go complain. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it, guys. Not me. Not this day. Okay, so anyways, Glass review. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start, buddy?
Yeah, well, explaining our format just to the people listening for the first time here, we do pros and cons. So it's not really like a general or generic movie score. To us, a 0 is a good movie because the positives and the negatives kind of outweighed each other. So we'll each give a point, a plus and a minus to everything we liked and disliked about the movie. I kind of think we're probably going to have the most contention with some of my stuff, Andy. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my mic was muted like a noob. So yeah, go ahead, man.
It's okay.
And begin your Glass review.
Okay, so I gave it a -4. So that means there were.
If you listened to our last episode, I don't know if it was published or not, but just for posterity, Bird Box ended with what was it? It was like a +3, I think.
You gave it a +3, and I gave it a +2. So overall, it was a 5.
5, yes, that's right. So it was a +5 overall for us as a team. So that's just interesting to me, that you gave it a +2 for Bird Box. So you're saying that Bird Box is a better movie than Glass, which to me is quite the shocker.
I'm being
honest. Yeah, it's quite the shocker.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into my positives first because they're all pretty quick and easy. There's not many of them. It's McAvoy as Patricia, McAvoy as Kevin, McAvoy as Hedwig, McAvoy as the Beast. That's 4 of my positives right there. The girl from Split making a return and being interesting and creepy and weird, and I just don't understand her.
Was she?
I liked her. She's one of my positives. I enjoy her. And then my last positive is just the dad son stuff. I'm a fan of the Bruce Willis and his kid. I'm glad they brought
Elijah
the
is
kid.
a big sucker for father son relationship stuff.
Yeah,
So
he was the man in the chair. He was like giving him advice and put with the headset. Like that
yeah,
was
if
cool.
you have
I
a
liked
father
all of that.
son relationship in your movie, you're getting positives from Elijah
You're
for
getting a
sure.
plus point. Yeah. So those are my positives. Now I want to jump into my negatives. First thing, just there's too much going on. Like I feel like that movie needed one less plot going on. So maybe when I said that I liked the girl from Splitting It, like maybe for you, if she was just not in the movie, like you would have been fine, and that plot line
I
could have
just
been
I
away.
just like not like whatever spoilers at this point. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
if you're listening to this, we're definitely talking a little spoilery. I just wanted her the way that they were developing her like made it seem as if some point she also had superpowers.
Okay. I
That's what
see.
I was like
That was a
that
negative
was
for
like
you.
what
Yeah,
I
that
thought
makes
the
sense.
twist was going to be is that
Gotcha.
it was her origin story basically.
Yeah,
You
her
know?
or the son or yeah. So for
Yes.
me, this universe kind of establishes that you have some kind of traumatic event and then that awakens your powers essentially. But for me, there was just too many plot points going on because you build the stars. You have Sam Jackson, you have Willis, and then you have McAvoy, and you have like each of them has their own secondary plot going on. So that's why I just thought there was too much going on in the movie because there's like here's Sam Jackson, but then there's the mom plot, and then here's Bruce Willis, but then there's also the son plot, and then here's McAvoy, but here's also the split girl part. Yeah, so I just thought there was too much going on, and I wanted to get to the part of the movie I was excited about earlier, which was Paulson, the insane asylum, and all that. So that's kind of my next thing. That I thought that like Sam Jackson came in way too late, and because of that, his performance kind of feels a little flat to me. I would have liked to see some man behind the curtain stuff like like they have like that reveal of him being sneaking out of his room. And I feel like that's something that we all have to assume was happening. So if like the opening scene of the movie is like him, like you just see like the back of his head in a computer screen, like it gives you that seed of that he's making all this happen. Like maybe if he even orchestrated Unbreakable and Split like meeting, like if he was the person that orchestrated that, I would have like felt a little better about it. But Sam Jackson comes in way too late in the movie for me.
Okay. All right.
I
Anything else?
found
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
You got other things.
Yeah, I got a few. Yeah, I found Willis was kind of wasted, and I know the Unbreakable character's kind of silent, but I felt like it's that thing where, hey, Bruce Willis makes this much money per day, and we can only have him on set so much because he had really little dialogue. He didn't do a lot in the movie. Like ultimately, I like that character because I like Unbreakable, but in this movie, if this was like his introduction, like Black Panther and Civil War, I would not have cared much about his character.
Okay.
The ending bothered me, and not the twist or the rug pulls or any of that, but the fact that they were all together. So this is the mom, Unbreakable's kid, and then Split Girl. So and I don't know any of their
Split
names.
Girl. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Good.
Yeah, but all three of them being together, like to watch that viral moment, like one that was like really cheesy, but I don't see any world where Willis's kid would want to hang out with the mom of Mr. Glass because effectively he is the reason his dad just died. So I couldn't see them all like hanging out in a like cathartic way. Like that didn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they would be with her because her son was a villain and responsible for all this death and murder.
Okay.
That seemed like super weird to me. The movie does a ton of meta
Hey,
commentary.
you don't have kids, man. You love your
True,
kids even if they're murderers.
but
I don't know about that.
no, but no. I
Aiden
mean, the
murdered a
kids
human.
hanging out with her. The kids hanging out with her seemed weird.
Yeah, I guess. We'd be
And,
friends. We'd have stuff in common. You
last
know?
few things I'll get through. Yeah, last few things I'll get through quick. I get that a part of the movie's point was to be a commentary on superhero movies. So a lot of my next things will sound dumb because I do realize what the movie was trying to do and how it was trying to talk about superhero films and stuff. But I thought it got too cute with the meta commentary. At Sam Jackson multiple times calling out stuff. I thought at some points this is funny. At some points it was over the top for me, and that kind of leads into I think a bad climax. Like when I look at this Unbreakable Split Glass universe, like Unbreakable, great movie. And then Split, surprisingly good movie. And then I really wanted Glass to be like, if we're looking at it as a trilogy, this to me is a really disappointing end to the trilogy because the climax is ultimately just like a really whack superhero fight that's not good. And I know that's probably part of the point that like if superheroes existed and there were powers, this would probably not be as flashy or entertaining as we imagine it. But I was just like kind of let down by
Okay.
the ultimate like
Okay.
battle. And then
I'm surprised because you seem more hype leaving the theater than your review seems to suggest. Maybe time away
yeah,
from the
actually, yeah, I
movie
think
is
yeah,
kind
I
of
think I've thought about it a bit. Yeah, and yeah, it's just because when I think of it in the terms of this is a trilogy, I'm just really let down by like the ultimate like result is that they killed all the characters and people I cared about to maybe set up something else for like a Netflix series or more in this series down the future or in
that
the
is what
future.
it felt like. They were setting it up for this Netflix series.
Yeah, and that's another one of my minuses. It's just like it doesn't like it feels like they're killing the characters I care about to just set up something else.
Okay.
So and I don't like that. And when I leave the movie, ultimately, I felt like I wasn't like fully entertained because McAvoy's performance incredible, but at the end of it, I feel a little disappointed in the universe because Split made me really care about where this was going.
Okay.
So last final thing, M Night Shyamalan made Last Airbender, so that's always going to be a negative for him on any review I do.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay. All right. So how many did you count in pros and cons?
Yeah, it's -4.
So -4 overall. Okay.
I'm a -4.
All right. I don't agree, and let me tell you why. So
Please.
here's my pros. It's a good comic book story. You know, it's just like if you take the front to back arc of all the characters and what happened, it's a good comic book story. Um, Saving cheerleaders, always a positive. Anytime a cheerleader gets saved, I'm in.
Anytime you save the cheerleader, you save the world.
Yeah, so I'm in on that. A few more pros. I'll try to go quickly through this because you kind of hit a lot of it. But Bruce Willis being back in a good movie is always a good thing. I mean, he's been doing
Mm-hmm.
just like direct to DVD shit for like 4 years, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so having him back in a good movie is good. He's such a good actor. I mean, maybe he's not a great actor, but I like Bruce Willis, so maybe that's what I should
Mm-hmm.
have said.
Yeah.
It was a good setup and solid flashbacks. Like they did a good job. I felt like where you thought the story didn't kind of work well together. I thought that they did a good job of mixing what had happened in the past with what was going on in the present. Um, and then I have something very similar to you, and I'll just go through this. So I just wrote Patricia, Dennis, Hedwig, the Beast, Barry, Kevin, Wendell, Crumb. So I gave out
Yeah.
6 points
To
for
each individual
because he was really that good. Honestly,
he was,
like
honestly.
I would tell people to watch this movie just to see how good James McAvoy was.
I would agree
If
100%.
you liked Split, you will definitely like this movie because
They cranked it up a
it's
notch.
more of a Split sequel than it is an Unbreakable sequel. And that's one of my negatives that I did feel like Bruce Willis was a little underused.
Yep, yeah, and I said wasted, but yeah, you're right. Underused is the correct.
And I honestly also felt like Glass was underused too. I felt
Mhm.
like there, like you said, there's so much going on. They couldn't really get into too much with each individual character. It almost would have been better to have, sequels to each movie first and then done Glass. A sequel to Glass or Unbreakable for Samuel and Bruce, and then a sequel to Split for McAvoy, and then
Or
brought into Glass or something like that.
yeah, no, or Glass could have just been the Sam Jackson focused one,
Yeah,
and
it
then
just
you do a merged, like
you
it's just called
felt you
merged, and you
felt
merge them all.
like you felt like there was more to be explored that didn't get there, and now it
Yep,
never will be.
exactly,
And that
because
kind of
they
it
murder
just
them
kind
all.
of yeah, it just kind of sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Other positives, facial close-ups. This movie does a really good job up in your face imagery, and then included with that, they did this a lot, and I don't know why Shyamalan was doing this, but a lot of like POV type stuff. Like actual point of view, like
Oh yeah,
scenes.
like split running.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
really cool. I thought that was really neat. Just some, little things that shows Shyamalan maybe is a good director still. Um, I thought it was cool that there was a 19-year difference since Unbreakable, which came out 19 years ago. So that was really a good connect there. Um, so I'll go to cons, and I have a couple more pros. I'll come back to. But for cons, um, this is both a pro and con. The ending for me, I both, for the reasons that you said that you didn't like it, I completely agree with the ending. However, if I'm trying to think of it like we used to think about movies 10 years ago, where like they were finite and didn't spin off a new series or a new thing. Like that was a pretty good ending. That kind of would have been ambiguous as far as what was going to happen in the future, and kind of would let you think about what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
To this
Whereas
world,
whereas
yeah,
now we
like
have
what
this
does it mean?
prism of like, oh well, what are they trying to create now? What's next? That kind of thing. So I think the ending was both good and bad. Um, I have
Which can be said about a lot of his stuff.
one of my lines was the worst looking water tank of all time. I just had to
Yeah,
put that
that's a
in there.
bad looking
I
water
feel like
tank. Yeah.
in a movie that doesn't have any CGI, when you have one CGI thing and it looks awful, it really stands out. And so like I couldn't stop like laughing on the inside when I saw that. A con. So this is what I was talking about as a con. The first time that on the nose exposition was used. So there's a point like maybe about halfway or three-quarters through the movie where the mom it was just like, oh, this is at the point in the comic book where the villain does this, and then the hero does this, and
And
like
then in the movie it does that, yeah.
the first time it came up, I was like, I mean, you and I just looked at each other like, what the hell, like,
Yeah,
this
what
is
is he
not
doing?
this is not good. However, they continued to hit that joke over and over again. And by the time we got to the end of the movie, it was really funny. Like
You liked it. Okay.
I was really into it.
You're like, I'm in.
So the con is that the first time they used it sucked, but then by the end of the movie, it was actually kind of funny.
Okay.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up on my con list was it was just kind of insane to me that Bruce Willis didn't know about his abilities.
Yeah.
Does that make
And
sense?
yeah, and we talked about this after the movie that like it didn't make any sense for Sarah Paulson's character to not like have them test out their abilities and prove it.
Yeah.
But then with the twist, we realized that she's a part of some evil shadow organization that murders superheroes.
All right, but I just feel like, 19 years, like,
You
okay,
wouldn't know.
I find out that I can't die, basically. Like, I'm in a
Yeah.
train crash and I don't die. Like, I feel like I would, via the Shazam trailer, try to test and do.
Yeah, test some stuff
Like,
out.
if I find out I'm extra strong, like, how strong am I? Like that would be like one of the first questions. Like, wouldn't you go to some junkyard and like punch things and throw things and like try to like
Yeah. Have a Rocky in the desert montage. Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
So, and I guess maybe that's part of the point of the movie is that for a hero to really truly realize his abilities and his powers, he needs someone that's a villain to bring that out. The villains are just as important as the heroes. I don't
No,
know. I don't know.
I feel you. I feel you on that. But
So
see,
with my overall score, though, I got to a +8. A +8.
a +8, you say?
Yes.
Wow. Ugh.
So that
Oy.
gives us an overall of a +4 for this
Yes.
film.
Yeah, and so, and I, I guess for you, when if we're looking at it from your perspective, you would say that Bird Box was probably, or Glass was probably 2 points better than Bird Box for you, right?
Yes, for
So
sure.
I think that we landed it at the correct place, even though I liked Bird Box much more than I liked Glass.
Yeah,
But
I
I had a
think
lot
so.
of fun.
I think so. But you're more of a hoity-toity movie watcher. Is what I like to
You're
call
right.
you.
I am a little snooty when it
Yeah,
comes.
your
Well,
nose
like,
is up
but
a
hey, look,
smidge.
I tried to be fair because there were things that like I wanted to give it negatives for like just using the strobe so much, but I was like, this is a part of the movie. It has to be. But, like that bothered me in theater. Like I was getting a headache, and then like at some point I was like, oh no, now I'm drugged out, and I was just like tripping out during
Yeah,
the
we had to put
movie.
warnings all over the theater because of the strobe lights.
Yeah, it did like. I don't want to say diminish my movie going experience, but I definitely got a headache and noticed it, and I was like looking away
Maybe
from
you
the
have
screen
some
when the flashes kept
personalities
happening.
that were flashing back and
Yeah, you're
forth
right.
when they would go off. Maybe
If
that was the
only M
problem.
Night, if only M Night could have flashed me into a personality that thought this was a good movie.
Hey, okay, that's cool. Yeah,
It's
listen,
not bad. It's not bad. Like
listen.
I just don't like it.
I think that it's I think M Night is back now. I really do. Uh, I think that his fall was probably overstated, and I know Last Airbender was horrible, and The Happening was horrible also. But he did that Devil movie, and I know that you'd never watch it, but I actually didn't think it was bad. And then this isn't bad, and I love. I'll ride or die for Signs. I know people also don't like that movie.
Well,
Sixth
you
Sense
know,
is still really good. It's not as good the second time, but it's still a really good movie. And
What you
then
said before, Andy, is the truth of this. Is like the movie is worth seeing alone for McAvoy. Like it just
he is
is.
really good. He's so
It's worth
good.
it for him.
Do you think that? I mean, I know it's a whole year away, and we just got this year's Oscar nominations. But how can they not consider him for being nominated for an acting role? I like it's
It's
so
just not
good.
going to happen. Look, if Emily Blunt can't get in for like freaking Quiet Place, like there's just no way. Like there's no way. I think the performance is
I
transformative and
mean,
great. But like
Emily Blunt
Michael
in
B.
Quiet
Jordan's
Place was
shit, like,
really, really good. But this performance from McAvoy is like,
I just don't think any of the popcorn movies are going to get in. Like Michael B. Jordan can't get in with Killmonger or Adonis Creed. Like it's just popcorn movie performance, even if it is outstanding, I don't think can get in.
well, since we clearly have a lot of pull with the nominating bodies for the Oscars, and
Let's
they
go
listen
ahead
to our
and
podcast, you guys have to nominate them next year. Okay, no big deal.
all right. So we're ending Glass with
Plus
a
four.
+4. Yeah,
Plus four.
+4
Yeah, yeah.
overall.
It's not minus. Thank God we have a.
One sane host.
Yes, yeah. One of us is a normal person. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like if it weren't for me, this movie would be getting a shitty review from us.
Well,
No,
so
The
here's the
Zero's a
thing. So
good
like,
movie. I just feel like it's better than
yeah,
Bird Box. Is all. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. And now we have it. It is officially better on our standings for Bird Box. Hey, look, I'm not
I don't think it is
unhappy with the result.
because Bird Box is a 5, and this is now a
No, no,
4.
no, no, no. Remember? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's right. Because I gave it a
Awkward.
2 and you gave it
Okay, let's move on from. Do you have anything else on Glass? I think we should move on.
no. I want to talk about the news.
Yeah, let's get into the news here. So we're going to go through this few news stories this week. They're not necessarily huge, but we'll take our time and hopefully have some hot takes for you. Elijah, make sure to say one thing that's ridiculous, okay?
Okay.
During this thing. Okay. So first thing, Ghostbusters 3 is on. The original cast is returning. There is some some rumors out there about the actual main cast being a group of kids. What do you think about this? Any thoughts that you need to say here? Leslie
Two
Jones,
things.
not happy.
Yeah, not happy. So two things. One, they're idiots. This needs to be a Netflix show. This needs to be 10 episodes. I don't know what they're doing with themselves. Like, I don't know why you would make a Ghostbusters movie in 2019.
Okay, so
you
listen.
Need to make it a Ghostbusters show.
This is a whole nother
it's-
tangent.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, but
This is just real
specifically,
quick though.
this
I want
property.
I do want to comment on what you just said. If you're saying that for Ghostbusters that it needs to be a 10 episode Netflix series, then basically anything should be a 10 episode Netflix series.
I think specifically Ghostbusters is served better in the week to week case of the week thing, and you can only do one or two cases within a 2.5 hour movie.
Right.
Where I think like Ghostbusters would really I'm getting hyper specific with Ghostbusters. I think it would really shine as this is the new Ghost, this is the new thing. Like the way that Sabrina the Teenage Witch blew up on freaking Netflix, Ghostbusters would destroy that. I can't fathom that Amazon or Apple isn't just buying the Ghostbusters license and making a show. It's stupid to me because horror is a big genre, and then like you said that they're having a young cast. Like to me, if they just got 2 of the kids from Stranger Things and 2 of the kids from the Young It cast and put them as the new Ghostbusters, do it.
So all the kids from Stranger
mix
Things.
them.
I
2 of
am
them. Grab Mad Max and Dustin, and then 2 of the kids from It.
The one thing that does make me
chocolate.
nervous is that it feels like everybody's jumping on the let's get the group of kids together for this movie bandwagon.
It's the smart play, man. That's the thing that moves the needle on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, those young followings, there's I can't even remember. It's like To All the Boys I Loved Before, The Kissing Booth, all that stuff on Netflix, those movies. That's the biggest thing right now, man. Those are the biggest social media accounts. So of course it's the algorithm.
And,
Elijah
definitely spends time watching The Kissing Booth. We'll be reviewing that next week with our pros and cons score. The Kissing Booth. Oh boy. Okay, well, now that we know that, let's go. 24 Jump Street is being made. Are you in or out?
Yes, all the way. Yes. Tatum and Jonah Hill all the way. Every day.
This isn't on our list, but let's tie this in here. Channing Tatum is offered to direct the Gambit movie.
Boo.
Does that if that doesn't smell like a desperation perfume, I don't know what does.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not a good look for Tatum. It's just not.
They just need to shelve that movie and start again.
It's just done. Let it die. Let it die.
Space Jam 2 also starting to film this summer with the King, LeBron James.
LeBronathy James.
Yes. Thoughts on that? I'm excited. I listen. I'll start here. I'm excited for Space Jam 2. I went back and watched Space Jam 1, and guess what? It looks
Great
horrible.
movie.
Legitimately,
Oh,
legitimately, when I was a kid, I thought it was the best looking thing of all time. It's like, how did they do this? This looks so cool. And now I go back and watch, and it does factually look like they are just like in a closet with a green screen behind them, and they just like,
yeah, and like Jordan's like looking at the
yeah,
wrong
like
angle with the wrong place, like
it's
he's looking 4 feet over Bugs'
it's
head.
so it's so bad. Now with LeBron in it, if this is a Space Jam 2 sequel, do we get a Michael Jordan cameo?
I hope it's just like a golf scene, like a Braun Jordan golfing. That's
Like
what
at
I
the
would like.
Open, yeah, like the Open with like the other one was. I'm into that.
I'd say after credit scene, maybe.
I just there's I feel like if there's ever a time for Jordan to like quote unquote pass his torch to LeBron or something, like this is a good way to do it in Space
The way
Jam
to do
too.
it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
yeah.
kind of look at him and give him a thumbs up as he walks into like a tunnel of light or something.
Yeah, and then just like I could take you.
I hope Bill Murray's back, and I hope that uh, Newman is back as well. I can't remember that
So,
actor's name.
one piece of news that I did not see on our list is that the Black Widow movie is apparently starting to film in February.
Yes, and there's
So
also
that's
rumors it
something
might
else
be
to
rated
watch,
R as well.
which would be great.
The
Man, they've
subject
had so many
material, if it's
crazy.
about that house or whatever, I don't know what it's called. Do you know what it's called? The house that she grew up in. If it's about that,
The Red
the
Room. The
Red
Red
Room.
Room.
If it's about the Red Room, that content is probably a little adult. So I
A
feel
little
like
racy.
even if it's PG-13, it's gonna ride that line.
Hmm.
Um,
I'd love that to be their first rated R
hey, that'd
movie.
be
That'd be
dope
great.
because that means that Deadpool's gonna be R.
Yeah, and then Deadpool 3 apparently is in the works too. So
Yeah, and I don't know what that means. What it
what
does
does that mean? Yeah,
because Fox is technically still owns Deadpool until I think it's like March when the deal officially goes through. So
yeah. I don't know.
who is actually developing? Maybe Ryan
Maybe they're
Reynolds
writing
is
it.
developing it and
Yeah, him
getting
and the
it ready
writer.
so that when they go over there, they're like, "Here's what we got. This is our plan."
You want to hear my crazy crackpot theory on Deadpool 3?
Yeah.
I think it's going to come out. I think it's going to be the first movie ever to release with a dual rating. And I don't know if there's a movie that's done that before, but like I feel like they'll release day and date with the like kids version of it, like the Once Upon a Deadpool and the rated R version. They'll both come
Hey,
out
listen.
same
Here's
day.
what I think with Deadpool. They're gonna have the rated R versions for solo movies. It is just what it is. He's gonna be in the crossover films, but if he swears, they're just gonna edit it. It's going to be a little
No,
bleep and a little black box over his mouth, and it's going to be really funny.
I'm
We're
just
all
saying
going to laugh together.
Deadpool 3 is going to come out and there's going to be a PG-13 version and a rated R
Okay, I'm
version
going to write
same
this
day.
down
Same
on
day.
here on this
That's my
outline.
bet.
I'm writing it down right now. Deadpool 3 dual rating.
Yep, that's what I think,
Elijah
man.
prediction.
I think it's the truth because
Okay.
I think that Once Upon a Deadpool was testing the water.
And I don't know how well it did. I did not check in on that.
I think it did pretty good.
Into the
Or
Spider-Verse it was almost included Tom Holland, Garfield, and Tobey Maguire in the
save it
movie.
for the sequel.
Thoughts?
Save it for the sequel.
Yeah, A, save it for the sequel, but B, if they include Holland, is this saying that there are multiple universes within the MCU?
I think there has to be. There has to be, right?
And then, are we saying that we could potentially see Spider-Ham in Avengers 8 10 years from now?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I care
That's
about.
what
I want Nick
Can you write
Cage.
that down as your protection or
Nick
your
Cage is
prediction?
live-action Spider-Man noir. I want a live-action
Nick,
Spider-Ham.
so what you're saying is Nick Cage is crawling around on the floor at age 80, like Bradley Cooper as a raccoon.
Yes.
But Spider.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Mandy. I know you don't like horror films or weird movies, but Nick Cage is now doing like an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation movie,
Oh,
and
fun!
horror
I do like
fans
H.P.
are
Lovecraft stuff.
hype.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds dope.
okay, let's close our news section with some quick hits on the Oscar nominations. Now, we'll usually do an episode of the podcast prior to the Oscars where we kind of like make our quick picks on the big categories, so we don't have to do that right now. But what do you have any like thoughts that you needed to?
Omissions.
Well,
Yeah.
all of the above.
Yeah.
Pats on the backs you want to hand out. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I've got a few. So first, I want to say Beale Street wasn't nominated in Best Picture. Like, I really love that movie. It's really good, and I think for me and you, man, like a lot of our favorite stuff during the year isn't going to get awards recognition at the Oscars. So for me, the biggest misses is that they don't have Searching is a part of this. I really liked that movie. I loved Eighth Grade. I loved Life Itself. But the biggest omission to me was Widows because I loved Widows. None of the performers got nominated, none of the cinematography, none of the directing, and I think Widows was my favorite movie last
You
year.
know,
Like I had the most fun.
that Widows movie might borderline to your point too much on the popcorn side of things. You know?
Yeah, but the cast and just I don't know. It was released in the prestige window. I see what you're saying, but I'm personally mad about it because it was my favorite movie, and just some of the scenes alone.
Yeah, it was one of my
I
favorite
couldn't.
movies of the year as well.
Like Brian Tyree Henry didn't get nominated for Beale Street or this, and I just don't understand what we're doing here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So
just like
my thoughts. My first thought when I saw The Field was I felt like this was a weak year. You know what I mean?
hmm,
I felt like with the Best Picture nominations, if you had picked movies out of the last like 5 or 10 years for like of what actually won Best Picture, I feel like they might have won again this year. You know, Spotlight I think is a better movie than anything that came out this year that's in the Best Picture category.
oh man, I really liked Stars Born more. I liked Beale Street
I'm trying to think
more.
back into some of the other ones. I was looking at it earlier and I was just like, I feel like this is a weak year just in general.
I think I disagree with that, but I'm just not happy with the movies
Well,
that were
maybe
nominated.
it's that
But
that's like the prestige movies that are the top end of what is good isn't as good as the top end in other years. Like,
yeah, yeah.
Shape of Water probably would have won this year had it been come out this year. I would have put money that Moonlight might have won if it was put out this year as well. So I just think it's a
I
weak
see what you
year.
mean.
Um, I
Gotcha.
think
I watched almost all of it. Like I watched Roma, I watched First Man, I watched all of the stuff that's nominated mostly, and I'm trying to think. Green Book's the only one I haven't seen, and I I like a lot of the stuff that's nominated. I'm just mad that there's no Widows.
Roma
That's
and The
really
Favorite got 10 each.
the favorite's great. Like
So
it deserves everything it's getting. Good job, favorite.
Warren did not get what they thought. Did not do as well as anticipated. And Bradley Cooper did not get nominated for director, which kind of sucks. I thought he was going to get nominated for director on that.
And Coogler for Panther, maybe.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Like, yeah, that was a weird one. Like
So
you would think one
so
performance would be nominated
now
from that
tell
one.
me if I'm wrong here, but like Black Panther shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture, right?
No, they nominated it to get the internet to shut up. That's to get people to
Because
watch.
listen,
Like that's
like
the
it
only
was
reason.
good.
That's the only reason.
It was infinitely more culturally important than it was a good movie, right?
Yeah, just like Get Out. Yeah, just like Get Out. Yeah, I mean,
So,
because
well, Get Out was
ultimately Black
actually really,
Panther
really
is.
good. So,
Yeah, no, yeah, you're
but
right.
that,
Black Panther is ultimately Lion King. I get it,
but
but
like,
I love that
if
movie.
you're objectively just looking at Black Panther versus Infinity War, even like Infinity War was a better movie than Black Panther.
It had more. I think it's tough because Avengers always has the ammunition of being able to be like, here's Benedict
No,
Cumberbatch for a few
I
minutes.
totally get that, but just side by side, like Infinity War is a better movie. The fact that you're even going meh about it makes me think that you're an insane person.
Yeah, I am a Killmonger man. I love that performance.
Um,
I love the vibe of the
it's
movie,
not a
the
best
music, the
picture.
sound.
It's not a best picture nominated movie. Sorry, it's not the best comic book movie this year. You know what's a
Are
better?
you mad?
You know what's better? You know what's a better comic book movie than Black Panther? Into the Spider Verse.
Okay. I understand. I understand. Here, the last thing I want to say is, are you mad that Dark Knight didn't get nominated for Best Picture, but Black Panther has? It's the
I'm
first
mad
comic
that
book
both
nominated
Dark
movie.
Knight and Logan didn't get nominated. Like both of those
Yeah,
movies are
Logan got
better
robbed.
than Black Panther
Logan
for
got
sure.
robbed. Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like Black Panther, but like I objectively,
Objectively,
Logan
yeah, I got you.
and Logan is better
I
than
remember better.
Black Panther.
Yeah. Okay.
So a couple other quick hits on this. Fandango did a poll. Won't You Be My Neighbor was their biggest snub. Did you watch that
Yeah,
movie?
definitely. No, but it's in my queue. I have
I
HBO.
would say I haven't seen all the documentaries, but I would say it's not great. Okay,
Okay.
like listen, it's good. You're gonna watch it. You're probably gonna cry just because it's emotional and sweet, but it like didn't tell me anything I didn't already know,
Mm,
and
mm.
and that's what I want out of a documentary. I don't want to feel
Okay.
good. I want to know more about this person.
You want to
Like,
learn, not
and you
not
learn
get
that he's a
feels.
really great dude and does a lot of really
But
cool
you knew
stuff
that.
and was really important. But like, we knew that stuff. Anyway, last thing I wanted to bring up: Aquaman should have been nominated for visual effects, right?
I don't think so.
If you're putting up listen. If again, we'll use Black Panther as the example. If you're putting out Black Panther's visual effects versus Aquaman's, there's no question that Aquaman's were better. No question at all. Do you disagree with that?
I do. I don't. I just I think it was goofy and cheesy looking. Like I didn't buy it most of the time, so I would say the visual effects were like probably one of my least favorite parts of Aquaman. So yeah, I don't.
Infinity War is probably going to win that category anyways. It doesn't matter.
I hope Spider-Verse wins it.
Oh, I guess Black Panther wasn't even nominated for visual effects. It was Infinity War, Christopher Robin. Ew, Christopher Robin, gross. Get out of here. First Man.
Oh wait, animated can't be in that category, can they? Is Spider-Verse in that category
No,
for visual
it's
effect?
not. No. Solo, a Star Wars story. Aquaman, better visual effects than Solo, Star Wars story, for sure. Aquaman, better visual effects than Ready Player One. And you know what's funny is Ready Player One is the exact same style of movie that you're talking about. That cheesy, kind of over the top kind of graphics. That's what Ready Player One was.
But Andy, Ready Player One had a Gundam, so
Yeah, you're right. My argument shut
I'm gonna
down.
ride for that movie.
Awkward. Okay, so we're done with the news for this week. Let's talk about our we got two or three things to close up here the podcast with. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna review this John Wick trailer. Maybe just some quick thoughts on that. Anything that you need to discuss other than him shooting a dude in the face on top of a horse?
Well, okay, so as far as trailers go, because there's a lot of good trailers that can get you hype. Like, the original Force Awakens trailers, those were hype. The way they rolled out the Avengers stuff, like, really good. But when it comes to trailers, I really think this John Wick trailer had everything I wanted in it. It had, like, the Frank Sinatra song playing.
Wasn't Frank Sinatra, but okay.
Wait, who was it?
Not Frank Sinatra. I'm not a old music head, but I know it wasn't Frank Sinatra.
Okay, well, whatever song was playing, yeah. Sorry, music buffs, I'm a movie person.
One of the three people that listened was going to angrily email you about that.
Yeah. But I just loved, I loved like the slow, like I'm too old for this kind of thing. The way that they're set up, he's being excommunicated, and then just the hard hitting action, saving Hallie to the end. I loved this trailer.
So you ready for my hot take?
Yes.
This trailer was trash.
Oh, what?
Here's why.
Why?
Why do we need to see cool action scenes from John Wick? Like,
you already know that's going to happen.
I need Keanu in a suit, walking slow motion down a hallway, bullet shit flying around him. John Wick 3, be there May 25th. And then their tagline should be, you don't need to see shit. The first two movies were fucking awesome.
The first two movies are our trailer?
Yes, like, I don't want any cool, like, anything ruined.
Spoiled.
That's like one of the few movies that like I don't care about what is the content of that movie. I will be watching it.
Gotcha.
Now, with the only caveat being the Halle Berry stuff, I feel like they could not have picked a better actress to do what Halle Berry is going to do at the like point of where her career is at right now. You know, like she's kind of not really done a lot of big things in the last even like 5 to 10 years. And to bring her back, John Wick kind of brought Keanu Reeves back. I mean, he's always been around and making movies.
No, but
he brought him back to the front of our brains again, and I really do predict that the Halle Berry, it will be the same thing for her. And after John Wick 3, we'll see her in other things too again.
The other thing that this kind of does is you said brought him back, but it also is an introduction. It's an introduction of Keanu Reeves to an entirely new generation.
Yes, and they have the same way they have said they're doing 2 more John Wicks after this one.
Wow.
So
and in the same way that they, like Keanu was introduced to another new generation with The Matrix or a different kind of people, a new audience, that's what John Wick did. And you're right. They could have done very, very little. Like it could have been a black screen and just the noises of what was happening, and then they could have just like had the John Wick, like his name slowly fading in, and that could have been enough of a trailer.
The only person I thought would have been cool if they used instead of Halle Berry was Linda Hamilton, but I don't know if she's like too old for that kind of role, or if she didn't even want to do something like that. There's rumors she was going to do the Expendables female movie, but okay. Anyway, what's your pre-guess Rotten Tomatoes score for John Wick 3?
I'm going to say an 87%.
87%. Okay, marking that
down. It's going to get that Halle Berry bump. They're going to give it, like, people are just really going to like this. I feel like the movie is like approaching 90s territory.
There's a Halle Berry bump.
Yeah. People love her, man.
Okay.
Critics love Halle Berry.
Okay.
I think she is worth at least 5 whole percentage
Right.
points.
Hold on one second. Can you keep talking about this movie? I'm looking something up real quick. I'm gonna see if I
Are you
can
gonna
find
see if you
Halle
could find
Berry's
Berry?
Berry's.
Metacritic as the.
Yeah, I want to see her. Her highest
Yeah,
rated
that's
movie that she
incredible.
has been in was a 90% for X-Men Days of Future Past, in which she was
Ooh,
in.
what? What?
Now,
Okay,
okay,
wow.
listen, son. This Halle Berry bump that you're talking about, I would argue does not exist. Here is her last. I'm
Well,
gonna run through her last like 10 movies. 9%, 52%, 37%. Then she was as herself in Kevin Hart What Now, which got a 75%. So that doesn't count. X-Men Days of Future Past. I mean, we'll give her that because she's awesome as Storm, but she's like barely in that movie. Then back
and
to
that movie would have been an 85, Andy, and she gave it a
then we're
5%
going
bump.
back to her normal movies. Okay, 21%, 45, 4. Then Cloud Atlas. So this is 2012. Cloud Atlas got a
Dude, Cloud Atlas is
66.
rough.
Okay,
Yeah.
then a 0, a 7, and then she had one. Then we start to get into a few that are decent. But my point is, there ain't no Halle Berry bump, my friend.
Okay, well, excuse me. I've
I'm
been
I am
corrected.
pro Halle Berry, but there's no
Well,
bump.
there's a personal Halle Berry bump for me.
John Wick's getting a 2 points higher for sure on our scale for Halle Berry. The Halle Berry bump is real. That's gonna be a thing,
Yes.
Anytime she's in a movie now, I feel like you have to like give that movie a
Call out
better
the Halle
score
Berry bump.
because she's
Yeah.
in it. You're always gonna have to do that. So you said an 87. So just for reference, John Wick Chapter 2 was an 89%. John Wick Chapter 1
Mm-hmm.
was an 87%. My pick for this one is an 83%.
All right. So you think the third will be worse than the other two?
I feel like the scores tend to go down, even though this one's gone up from the first to the second. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the Lawrence Fishburne bump, right?
God damn it.
Okay, so last two things, and this one's quick. I just had to ask. I was going to ask you this off the air, but I want to ask you on the podcast here. Do we talk about movies being made for TV? So, like, Sopranos movie is being made. They cast James Gandolfini's son as a young Tony Soprano, which is really cool. Breaking Bad movies made. They released the cast list. There is Bryan Cranston is on the cast list, so whether that's a flashback or flash forward or whatever, he is in this movie as Walter White. But do we talk about these movies because we talked about the line being blurred a little bit with Marvel and making the TV shows from these movie characters? Where do we draw the line here? What do you think?
I think the answer is yes, as long as it's something that we're actually interested in. Because, like, I don't know if I'm going to be riding hard for the Deadwood movie, but I'm watching that Breaking Bad movie.
Of course. Day one.
And I've actually been recently watching Sopranos because I know as a kid my mom watched it, and so like I was in the room while some episodes were on, but I never like sat and watched Sopranos the way I should have. And I'm like most of the way through the series
That
now,
show's good.
just because it's
I
20
just
years.
have
and I've
a
wanted to.
difficult time watching the therapy scenes.
Yeah, and there's some plot lines where you're like, why are we hanging out with the daughter? But that's just like old TV. Like it's like, hey, we got to fill this hour. There's an A, B, and C plot kind of thing. But yeah, it's still a great show. There's still fun stuff that happens. They're doing mafia stuff and it's fun. But yeah. Sopranos movie, I'm in on. Breaking Bad movie, I'm more in on.
Okay, so we are going to talk about. I just, it's like more of a philosophical question. These movies are.
Yeah, and I think at some point we're going to be like, hey, there's a Hawkeye movie that's only coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about the Disney Plus shows too, just because they do contain movie characters.
There's so many crazy like rumors and stuff.
We don't know if they're going to affect the actual
nonsense.
movie franchises or if they're going to be like one-off, kind of one-shot kind of stories.
Yeah, like if they're doing a 4-episode Rocket and Groot show, like if it's 4 episodes, like, and they're all like 40-minute episodes, like, well, that's effectively one movie.
Right, yep. Yeah. So, okay, so we'll talk about them. That's a good, okay, that's good. All right, last thing this week, our happy movie birthdays. Did you want to sing or anything, Elijah, to them? No?
Happy birthday to dude.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to dude.
So on this day, this very, very day, Ed Helms was born.
That dude from The Office.
Yeah, Ed Helms. But I'd say more notably Hangover, which is one of the biggest comedies of all time. And then James Belushi You said also was his birthday, and then
Jim
I
Belushi.
have to mention this just for my son Aiden because he watches Scooby Doo all the time. It's also Matthew Lillard's birthday.
Your son really watches a bunch of Scooby
Dude,
Doo?
listen,
That's
listen.
awesome.
I when growing up, I was like, who the hell watches these stupid movies? And people always told me, oh, when you have kids, like just wait. Like Aiden loves, and when I say loves, like loves with a capital L, the live action Scooby Doo movies. He thinks they are the funniest things ever. And
So he only thinks that Scrappy Doo is a villain? Like, is that
yeah,
just
so
like
but I'm just like, well, no,
through
he
line
has
for
the
him?
box set of the cartoons, so he watches all
Okay,
the
so
cartoons too. But like those movies are so dumb and so bad, but he just thinks they're the greatest things ever. So thank you, Matthew Lillard, for filling my home with a shitty background movie while I do other things. Yeah, that's how it goes. All right,
Incredible,
that's it for
incredible.
this week, you guys. Thanks for listening. Elijah, you getting to close us out? You got anything you want to say?
Yeah, we are brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They are the creators of Epic Comic Con in Atlantic City, and that's happening this summer in June. So check it out at epiccomiccon.com. Celebrities, I mean, Lou Ferrigno's going. You should go. It's gonna be like Bam Margera's gonna be there.
Man,
It's gonna be fun
I
stuff.
love it. I would definitely go try to hang with Bam.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for listening to Movies at Midnight.
Bye.